Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Have you ever pictured a future where, okay, humanity's out there among the stars? Well, today we're plunging right into that kind of universe. And let me tell you, it's far from peaceful. We're talking cunning alien invaders, sure, but also these insidious internal threats, the unpredictable power of belief, manipulation, reaching right into leaders' minds, society itself. It's a battlefield, that goes way beyond just distant planets. So this deep dive, it's an exclusive look into a really complex web of events. We're pulling insights straight from some rich source material, specifically excerpts from a document called recoil-david-sherman.pdf. We're going to unpack layers of military strategy, the psychology of faith, which gets really interesting, and some pretty startling alien encounters. Our mission today really is to cut through all the noise. We want to give you those crucial nuggets of knowledge, help you understand how these fates intertwine. You've got a reformed military unit, an elite special forces team, and this charismatic, very controversial religious leader.
And all of this is playing out against the backdrop of a universe under threat. But before we get into the high-stakes stuff, let's just quickly set the stage a bit. How did humans even get out there? Our sources mention things like, family limits back on the old home worlds that actually pushed people to emigrate. Like Chad and Connie, they wanted a big family, Clement, Claire, Mitchell, maybe a Cliff or Corrine next. And they even timed the pregnancy around harvests. It just grounds things, in relatable human stuff before the intensity really ramps up.
And that intensity arrives pretty quickly in the form of a newly revealed threat, a big one. President Chang Sturdivant has just gone public about the Skinks. They're a hostile alien species kept under wraps until now, and these things are, well, formidable. Cold-blooded, they vaporize when hit by plasma bolts, poof, gone. They use acid shooting weapons, and they have this really strict hierarchy. Fighters, leaders, masters, overmaster, grandmaster, even these large ones.
No?
What's really alarming, though, is their sensory ability. They can apparently detect the electrical fields of living creatures, makes them incredibly elusive, dangerous.
Okay, wow. So a truly terrifying, almost fantastical enemy, like you said, vaporizing, acid weapons, detecting electrical fields. But what was the Confederation's immediate move? How did they, react to this?
The immediate response was decisive. Formation of Task Force Aguinaldo. It's a combined military force built specifically to fight the Skinks, and it's led by General Anders Aguinaldo. He's, let's say, unconventional, disdains all the military pomp, insists on combat uniforms only, very direct communicator too, writes his own messages, even straight to the president. He calls it a come-as-you-are war. He's ready.
A come-as-you-are war. I like that. And central to this whole task force is the surprising transformation of the 7th Independent Military Police Battalion. Because before Aguinaldo, this unit, the sources say they were known as misfits and useless, apparently prone to a lot of drinking. Doesn't sound like your prime frontline material.
Not at all. And given that past, what Colonel Rene Ragel does is, well, it's remarkable. He doesn't just reform them, he completely rehabilitates them, turns these misfits into a disciplined force. He personally develops the training schedules, pushes them through this incredibly rigorous regimen. Daily 8-kilometer runs, then bumped up to 12 kilometers, no exceptions, not even for NCOs. He even rewrites their general orders to match stricter Confederation laws. And the sources really show the pride that the soldiers who stuck it out developed. They understood the honor, being part of this new mission, supporting Task Force Aguinaldo. They knew they'd qualified for something important. It's a testament to Ragel's audacity, really.
And this whole turnaround is captured really powerfully in one soldier's story, right? So, Sergeant Puella Queege. Her backstory is, well, it's something else. Decorated, Bronze Star from Ravenette, that whole brutal, messy conflict. But she got it for shooting bank robbers while drunk. And she thought she got the medal for running away, believed she deserved a different medal, the soldier's medal, for heroism, for the actual shootout. Oh, and she's missing her left ear from that same incident. Plus, the history of heavy drinking. It paints a pretty vivid picture of the old 7th MPs, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Her past just starkly illustrates the chaos and maybe the brokenness in that unit before Ragel. But now we see her struggling towards sobriety. There are physical changes, lost 6 kilos, gained firmness, and she's landed this crucial role as Ragel's chief clerk. She still gets snide remarks, from all comrades, but Ragel and Sergeant Major Steiner, they back her completely. And get this, her marksmanship is exceptional. So she, along with a Sergeant Oakley and a Miracle, gets picked for this high-stakes pistol competition against another unit, medics, apparently known for their pistol skills with the M26. One of them is even a protege of the legendary pistolier Tam Liv. Her personal challenge really underscores the battalion's whole journey, from rock bottom to, well, having a real purpose again.
Okay, so from renegades to redeemed. quite a shift. Now, let's move to the sharp end. The 4th Force Recon Company, these guys are the best of the best, known for their, quote, earned arrogance. Just back from Revenant, heavy casualties. And we meet Ensign Jak Daly, newly commissioned officer, but he's actually reassigned back to Force Recon because of those losses. His men think he's arrogant, apparently, but he uses his old squad leader experience to, lead them. Their mission takes them to Haulover. It's a newly colonized world, and homesteads are being hit by these mysterious raids. But right away, they hit roadblocks. Uncooperative local authorities, maybe even corrupt ones. You've got the planetary administrator, Stoke Mullally, sounds kind of gray, bureaucratic, easily swayed. And then board chairman Smelt Miner, controlling, self-interested, especially about ruthenium mining on the planet. Smells like trouble before the aliens even show up.
Exactly. And that's where the sources start hinting at something potentially deeper. Is this local government just incompetent? Or is there something more sinister going on, maybe tied directly to this killing activity? Miner's control over mining, his interest in ruthenium, could that be a motive? Or at least a reason why he's obstructing the military investigation? It raises questions.
And then they have their first direct run-in with the Skinks at the Battalion Gutter homestead. The Marines see it all firsthand, the ambush tactics, those acid weapons. And the really shocking part, Skinks vaporizing when shot by blasters. Even weirder, they see them breathing underwater. Suggests gill slits or something similar. Casualties happen immediately. Corporal Nominant is killed. Sergeant Kindy, Sergeant Williams wounded. Acid splash for one, a bite from a skink with sharp pointed teeth for the other. But crucially, they manage to capture one alive, a prisoner. They name him Boobin. Capturing Boobin, that's huge. But what they find out about his past is, well, it's deeply troubling, isn't it? Turns out he wasn't always Boobin. He was found earlier by a woman, Tremonisha Giddings, who actually nursed him, called him Moses. And he had run-ins with human scientists before. Dr. Joseph Goebbels, an exobiologist more focused on weaponizing discoveries and understanding them. And his assistant, Dr. Pensy Fogel. They subjected Moses to gastrointestinal probes and intelligence tests. The sources are pretty clear about the disturbing ethics here, especially Goebbels' approach. Exploitation over genuine understanding.
Indeed, the ethical questions just jump off the page. And what's really astounding is Moses's intelligence profile. Scored low on verbal comprehension, which, okay, might be due to a non-human upbringing, right? But he scored normal on perceptual reasoning tests. And despite being alien, he learned some English, even said, "Momi, I love you." Then there are the physiological details: four-chambered heart, pituitary-like glands, adult skinks having denified teeth, whatever that means exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't just make them more alien, it highlights how fundamentally different their biology is. Poses huge challenges for military medics, for sure. And discovering Boobin can speak, express emotion, that throws a massive ethical wrench into things.
So, okay, the military is basically geared up for a war of extermination here. But finding Moses, learning about Boobin, that complicates things massively. How does knowing they might be sentient, maybe even capable of emotion, change things on the ground?
Well, it creates an immediate, profound dilemma. The military strategy is built around eliminating a hostile creature, but this discovery completely challenges that view, adds immense complexity. It's not just about defeating an enemy anymore, it's about understanding what that enemy truly is. And this struggle is driven home when the skink threat on Haulover escalates again. An unexpected assault right on Marine House, the Marines' own quarters.
And this attack just confirms all those weird skink traits, right? Vaporizing when shot, using civilian weapons, somehow bypassing defenses by sensing electrical fields, chilling. More casualties, too.
Yeah.
No Namanan's death is confirmed. Kaney and Williams wounded again seriously this time. Need stasis bags just to keep them alive. You just to think about the psychological toll. Marines like Lance Corporal Ellis struggling with just the unreality of seeing enemies vaporize. How do you even process that?
It fundamentally undermines everything you know about combat, about reality itself, and their elusiveness. It really underscores why they desperately need a Confederation Navy warship. Something like the CNSS Broward County, with its string of Pearl surveillance. That's basically a network of sensors creating a virtual net. Crucial for tracking an enemy that can just vanish.
Right. As if a galactic war against vaporizing, acid-spitting aliens wasn't enough. Our sources reveal this whole other battle starting, much more insidious. A fight for human hearts and minds. And it's spearheaded by this figure who just blurs all the lines between spiritual salvation and maybe alien manipulation. Let's dig into the Jimmy Jasper phenomenon. So Jimmy Jasper, charismatic preacher, comes from the planet Kingdom, emerges from this Pentecostal sect, the Rock of Ages True Light Christian Church, known for pretty fervent practices, speaking in tongues, rolling in the dust. Their history, they rejected formal churches, hierarchies. Their evangelism had kind of faded because of persecution. They were just patiently waiting for a sign from heaven. And wouldn't you know it, This sign seems to arrive right around the Skink invasion and defeat on Kingdom. Jimmy interprets that as divine intervention.
And that interpretation becomes his whole mission. He declares himself a modern Moses, calls himself God's optician, sent to free people from Satan. He believes Earth is the focus of the devil's plan, its government, a tool of evil. His preaching is forceful, very personal, draws huge crowds, and he has his consort in Christ, Sally Consolorter. Her role is important, but she's struggling, having these terrifying daymares, visions.
Yeah, these visions. They're not just random nightmares. Sally starts to realize they're actually traumatic memories, memories of being abducted by skinks. And she sees them not as angels like maybe she first thought, as tormentors. She starts getting scared of Jimmy himself. Her whole perception shifts. She sees Earth cities as vibrant, alive, not the evil Sodom that Jimmy preaches about. It adds this really unsettling layer.
What's truly striking, though, is the sheer breadth of influence Jimmy Jasper gets and how effectively he uses emotion over, rational argument. He attracts incredibly powerful allies to his burning flame mission to humanity. You've got Senator Luke Maxim, who hosts him, major media figures Carla Morales, Henrietta Von Stiles from the Doxology Chicks. Their music actually helps fund his ministry by bypassing reason, hitting people right in the emotions. A Nobel-winning exobiologist, Wang Nang, joins him. A famous professor of charismatic religious studies, too, plus various politicians, military veterans. This network gives him just a massive impact on public opinion. It almost feels engineered for maximum effect.
It gets so big that President Cynthia Chang Sturtevant herself decides she has to meet him, confront him. Her initial reaction is pure skepticism, thinks he needs a great big enema, is the quote, I think. But then he hits her with this chilling dismissal of her military's experience, says, I have seen them closer up than any of her soldiers. And despite her strong will, his words actually trigger her own suppressed childhood memories. Hellfire, salvation. It just shows his powerful psychological influence.
The president's own reaction really shows how deeply disturbing Jasper's power is, and it leads to serious alarm bells ringing within her cabinet. Attorney General Huygens Long, Minister of War Marcus Barrentus. They see Jasper as a goddamn Rasputin. They openly suspect he's been brainwashed, maybe even engineered by the Skinks, because they were likely abducted together, right? General Kazambi spells out the dire implications. If Jasper's influence spreads to the military, the whole anti-Skink campaign could just collapse. Raises huge constitutional issues, readiness problems for the entire Confederation.
The stakes just couldn't be higher. It gets so tense that Long and a Dr. Jeroboam actually try to arrest Jasper. They fly out to Senator Maxim's villa in this dramatic storm-tossed flight, only to be stopped by a massive tornado. It's chaos. So you've got the president caught between this huge galactic war and a potentially alien-influenced religious movement taking hold. And her own top advisors are thinking about extreme measures to neutralize this guy they think is actively working against humanity's survival.
So we've really journeyed through this incredibly complex tapestry, haven't we? War, politics, faith, all tangled up. We saw a military unit fighting for redemption against this truly terrifying alien enemy, but at the same time grappling with the insidious influence of a flare who seems to be both spiritual savior and possibly alien porn. And the human element is always there, grounding it. Puella Queege's very personal journey, sobriety, finding purpose again. Sally Consolidor's horrifying visions revealing her abductors were tormentors, not angels. It makes these huge high-stakes events feel deeply personal. And it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? In a universe where aliens might be able to influence minds, twist faith into a weapon, what could humanity even do? How could you tell the difference between genuine divine inspiration and really sophisticated alien subversion? How do you fight an enemy that might be attacking your core beliefs? And how do you convince anyone else when the evidence itself is just so bizarre, so unsettling, so unbelievable?